So many people remember all the devastation following Hurricane Andrew, and that's why many are fearful about Hurricane Irma. But a lot has changed in South Florida since Hurricane Andrew. Joining me right now to talk about some of those changes and what you need to know heading into this storm is Peter Dyga, President and CEO of the Associated Builders and Contractors. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Let's
start by looking back and comparing the difference between pre-Andrew construction and post-Andrew. What's the difference?
Well, first let me say that the actual code before Andrew in '92, it was not necessarily bad, but one of the things we learned from the storm was we had some problems with enforcement of the code. So let me start off by saying that the best code in the world is not going to do us any good if we don't have strong enforcement. But we did make some changes since '92, and we learned a lot of things, so much so that now, 25 years later, South Florida, and South Florida in particular, have the strongest wind load building code in the world.
Wow.
So we're definitely more prepared than we were in '92. But they're strong storms. They're very destructive storms. The biggest problem is not the buildings. The buildings will withstand this, but your windows and your openings and your doors and trees falling over and things like that. So.
And you were saying that there have been changes to the codes. Can you give us some examples?
Absolutely. So the biggest changes to the code, and there have been a lot, but the biggest ones that most people will be familiar with is now if you did new construction or updated your home, you probably have impact-resistant windows. So those are windows that, again, are impact-resistant, not necessarily proof, impact-proof, but also the way roofs are attached, tied to your building, new adhesion requirements for roofing products on your roof. So all those things are probably the biggest changes that helped improve our code since '92.
And so many people from the Northeast moved down here to South Florida. A lot more people have come down since Hurricane Andrew. They may not be familiar with the differences between building in the Northeast versus building down here in South Florida. What are some of the construction materials that may be different that they might not be used to seeing?
Great question. I mean, one of the changes also that occurred since '92 is the elimination of stick frame housing construction, and we're much more reliant now on masonry block and reinforced block reconstruction, which is much stronger. One of the things everybody talks about is how down in South Florida your doors enter out instead of in. Those are the things that you definitely notice if you're from a different area of the country, in South Florida. And all this is to protect, against the breaching the home at the various openings.
And as you were saying, yes, our homes are definitely constructed better. That doesn't necessarily mean they can withstand a Category 5, which Irma is right now. Are you fearful, are you concerned about the homes in South Florida and the damage we could potentially see should Irma hit us as a Cat 5?
Well, everything we've done is a balance between what people are willing to live in and what they're willing to pay for, and we definitely have had a lot of improvements. The buildings are going to withstand fine. Windows, don't stand by your windows. You should still stay in a interior room. Just because you have impact-resistant windows doesn't mean they're impact-proof. This is going to be a long storm, duration-wise. And if you're ordered to evacuate, we can't stress that enough. You need to get out, regardless of how safe you think your home is. And again, it will probably be standing, but there's going to be a lot of damage. These storms, the strongest code in the world, is not going to protect us completely from property damage.
In the end, Mother Nature always wins.
Absolutely.
All right, Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Great information there. We appreciate your time. We'll send it back to you.